Let's just dive right into this explainer, shall we? Today, we're unpacking the sheer scale, the turbulent history, and the profound cultural significance of the Imam Reza Shrine, located over in Mashhad, Iran. Look, this isn't just a building. It's a sprawling, living monument. It's literally witnessed the rise and fall of dynasties, devastating modern tragedies, and the quiet prayers of, well, billions of people over the centuries.
So, here is how we're going to break this down. First up, a city within a city. Then, the heart of the shrine. Third, 1,000 years of empires. And finally, modern miracles and tragedies. Let's get into it. Part 1. A city within a city. We're looking at the staggering scale of the modern complex.
30 million. Let that number sink in for a second. That's the number of pilgrims who visit this shrine every single year. Just imagine the entire population of Texas packing up and traveling to one single destination annually. That massive influx makes this the most visited pilgrimage site in all of Islam. It's really like a constant flowing river of humanity, all converging on this one specific point on the map.
And when you look at the sheer size, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Covering 1.2 million square meters, it's the third largest mosque complex in the entire world, sitting just behind the sacred sites in Mecca and Medina. Honestly, it's a fully functioning, self-sustaining metropolis dedicated entirely to faith. Picture getting lost in one of the 21 intricate internal halls, or maybe wandering through its massive library, or even studying at its dedicated university. You've got 7 massive courtyards and 14 towering minarets reaching up into the sky. It's a complete architectural marvel.
Moving on to Part 2, the heart of the shrine, exploring the spiritual gravity of Mashhad.
Now, you have to realize that this entire mega complex radiates outward from one specific spot, the tomb of Ali al-Rida, the 8th Imam in Shia Islam. Born back in 766 CE, his lineage traces directly back to the Prophet Muhammad, and he's profoundly respected across various branches of Islam, really seen as this ultimate model of deep asceticism and a crucial link in the chain of mystical authority. Tragically, he was murdered in 1818 CE. And get this, the very city that grew around his tomb, Mashhad, the name literally translates to a place where a martyr has been buried. So the entire city essentially exists because of him.
So what's driving all these millions of people? Well, this recorded hadith from the Prophet Muhammad gives us the fundamental why behind the complex. It promises the removal of sorrows and the forgiveness of sins. For over a millennium, it's this exact promise that's acted like a massive spiritual magnet. This is the core theological foundation. It's what continues to draw the faithful across continents, across deserts, and mountain ranges, generation after generation, all seeking that comfort and redemption.
But here is where history gets incredibly ironic. Visitors aren't just standing near the Imam. They're actually standing near 2 immense, totally contrasting figures. See, Imam Reza was buried directly beside the grave of the Abbasid Caliph Harun al-Rashid. Yes, the powerful ruler whose own son actually ordered the Imam's murder. Crazy, right? And even more mind-blowing, the original building they were both buried in, it was a Zoroastrian temple long before the Islamic era. Talk about an unbelievable layering of history, all resting right there in the exact same physical space.
Okay, Part 3, 1,000 Years of Empires. This is a cycle of destruction and glorious rebirth.
So you might be wondering, how does a single tomb tucked inside a former Zoroastrian temple blow up into a 1.2 million square meter mega complex? I mean, obviously, it didn't just pop up overnight. To answer that, we really have to look at the empires that conquered the region over the centuries, because pretty much every single one of them wanted to leave their own permanent mark on this sacred ground.
Just look at this timeline. It's a testament to pure endurance. After the initial burial in 818, the site was repeatedly devastated, but then it was heavily rebuilt in 1009 by the Ghaznavids. By 1220, the absolute horrors of the Mongol invasion swept through, and the shrine effectively became a desperate refuge for the locals. Fast forward to 1408, we see this massive architectural boom. And then finally, the Safavids step in around 1501, and they are the ones who truly escalated the shrine into the sprawling marvel we recognize today.
So basically, every major empire transformed this complex. The Samanids laid the early groundwork. Then, when invaders completely wrecked it, Mahmud of Ghazni stepped in to fortify it. When the Mongols ruthlessly plundered Khorasan, survivors literally huddled around this shrine for safety. Later on, under the Timurid Empress Gohar Shah, these breathtaking new mosques were added. But it was really the Safavids who took things to the next level. When they made Twelver Shi'ism the state religion, they drove out the Uzbeks and expanded those courtyards to unprecedented glory. Through brutal wars and golden ages of peace alike, the shrine just kept adapting and kept expanding.
Which brings us to part 4, modern miracles and tragedies. We're going to look at the living reality of the shrine today.
Just to ground us in reality here, this isn't some quiet, ancient ruin you can just casually stroll right into. Visitors today have to navigate a massive, thoroughly modern crowd control infrastructure. Honestly, it operates a lot like an airport. You've got strict physical security checks, women are required to wear chadors, and all bags have to be dropped off at a luggage deposit for a nominal fee. It is a heavily guarded, highly managed environment. But hey, that makes perfect sense when you've got populations the size of small countries passing through your gates, right? Now, speaking of logistics, we have to talk about the shrine's world-famous communal kitchen. Because the demand is so impossibly high, they actually have to run it on an ID register and a ticket lottery system. In fact, a pilgrim might only win a meal ticket once every 3 years. Think about the sheer scale of that for a second. On special occasions, this kitchen cooks an unbelievable 250,000 meals in a single day. During Ramadan alone, they feed something like 1 million pilgrims and locals. It is an absolute jaw-dropping masterclass in hospitality and organization.
However, we have to acknowledge that the modern era has also brought immense bloodshed to these sacred grounds. The 20th and 21st centuries? They've been pretty brutal here. Back in 1935, forces of Reza Shah massacred protesters who were rallying inside against modernization policies and hijab bans. In 1978, right at the height of the Iranian Revolution, troops killed people directly inside the shrine. Then in 1994, on the holy day of Ashura, a devastating bomb ripped through a crowded hall, killing at least 25 worshippers. And even as recently as 2022, a horrific stabbing attack left 2 Shia clerics dead. So the walls of this shrine have truly witnessed the absolute best, and sadly, the absolute worst of humanity.
Which leaves us with this final, kind of profound thought to reflect on. We have seen kings, shahs, caliphates, and invaders all try to control, destroy, or claim this space for themselves. And yet, long after those empires crumble and those modern tragedies pass, the Imam Reza Shrine just remains. It continues to draw 30 million souls every single year, people seeking nothing more than a moment of peace and a connection to the divine. It really makes you wonder about the true nature of endurance, doesn't it? Well, thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep asking the big questions.